Dolphins fans, and welcome once again to Club Dub. 6 wins in a row for your Miami Dolphins. We're talking about the Dolphins' 31-24 victory over the New York Jets to push this Dolphins team to 7-7 and keep them in the hunt in the 2021 playoff picture. Let's get after it. Locked on Dolphins.
You are Locked On Dolphins, your daily Miami Dolphins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's go. Dolphins 31-24 victors in week 15 of the 2021 NFL regular season. I'm your host here on Locked On Dolphins, Kyle Krabs, for another episode of Victory Monday on the podcast. Want to thank you guys for making Locked On Dolphins your first Dolphins listen of the day, and I cannot wait to dig our teeth into a game that showed a lot of character down the stretch from the Miami Dolphins. I know one of the big questions that a lot of Dolphins fans had ahead of this game and coming out of the victory against the Giants was, man, is this bye coming at the right time with the way this team is playing? And I think you looked at how the first quarter went for the Miami Dolphins, and it's pretty safe to say, no, it did not. You obviously were hoping that you were going to get guys healthy coming out of the bye. You did get Brandon Jones back. But COVID protocols, ping Jalen Waddle, he's out. Javon Holland was activated on Saturday. Non-football illness, apparently not COVID related, was inactive on Sunday against the Jets. So your rookie playmaker on each side of the ball didn't have him. So for all of that waiting that you had to play your next football game to get healthy, you were missing more impact players than you were when you left and when you went out on the bye. And the first quarter of this football game was about the absolute worst case scenario that you possibly could have drawn up for the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins get the ball. They do not have any success moving the ball. I believe they had 7 yards on their first possession of the game. Then the Jets go 10 plays, 83 yards, go down, score touchdown. Dolphins get the ball back. Tua Tagovailoa misses Devontae Parker high in an intermediate area of the field. Interception. Jets kick a field goal. Thank goodness they buckled down. Miami, I will say this about their scoring possessions. They did a really nice job of possessing the football. They won the time of possession in this contest, but that's really only one of the few things that the Dolphins did win. The Dolphins had 34 minutes and 22 seconds of time of possession against the Jets in week 15. That was, of course, relative to 25 minutes and 38 seconds for the Jets. Dolphins were the more penalized team, 5 for 45 versus 3 for 32. The Dolphins had 2 extra turnovers. They had 3 turnovers in this football contest, including an ugly pick six from Tua Tagovailoa with the team up 24-17 midway through the fourth quarter. More on that in a bit. But there are some takeaways that you can feel really, really good about. 6 sacks of Zach Wilson, and you probably should have had another 5, if we're being honest. You got hot on third downs, and you were 2 or 3 on fourth down. We had a unprepared fake called on 4th and 1 near midfield, trying to ice the game. Missed execution. And that was really, in my opinion, the story of this game for Miami for the early portion of it and then intermittently throughout the rest of the game. Missed execution, missed opportunities. I think this team came out rusty. Obviously, when Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed aren't practicing all week and you get a new back in there, the mesh point is going to be something that doesn't have the same chemistry to it, right? But the first possession, Tua's got to dive on a ball because the ball gets muffed or fumbled or whatever you want to phrase it and kills a drive. Okay, you've got some chunk gains where you got penalties called against you to bring back big gains, and that includes setting up that pick six for Tua Tagovailoa because you had a huge run on that play thanks to Duke Johnson. And I want to talk about Duke Johnson more in a little bit too, because I already had an interesting question from somebody on Twitter that I wanted to address here on the show. This was an ugly win. But when it's all said and done, an ugly win that included you coming back from 10-0 and 17-7 deficits, fourth quarter comeback, game-winning drive by your young quarterback. You had 183 yards rushing in this contest on 42 attempts. I'll take that all day long, even if that is ugly. You scored 31 points. And you didn't get the benefit like the Jets did of having a couple of your scores set up on a silver platter. No, the Jets earned it with their first possession, right? Where they went down 10 plays, 83 yards, 6 minutes and change, touchdown. Their remaining possessions, 6 for 16, field goal after the interception. Okay, that's fine. 3 for 1. 8 for 75, touchdown. Yep, they earned that one. But the rest of the way, 6 for 20, 3 for 3, 6 for 4, 3 for 37 and a turnover, 3 for -12, 3 for 3, 4 for 9. And you kind of got, once Miami tied it quickly into the third quarter, you kind of had the sense of, okay, they've got the more sustainable model, in my opinion. You know, the Jets had a short field. They did have 2 successful drives in the first half that went long distances for scores. But that even included them breaking out every desperation play in the book. And Brian Flores said that after the game. The Jets threw the kitchen sink at us. They sure did. And kudos for Miami for buckling down. I know I had a pit in my stomach about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Man, we're really going to do this, huh? We're going to make some of the same mistakes that we did last year, where you get hot, you're having success, and you drop a game you have no business dropping, and it really is a backbreaker for your season. Not so fast. 7-7, 5-3 at home. We got one more home game. And of course, we have the next 2 on the road. Monday night in New Orleans. And then we have in Tennessee the following week in week 17. I want to talk about some individual player performances out of this game and some observations that they have provided, but not before talk to you about our friends over Boost Mobile. You listen to podcasts for the power of knowledge. You switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money. Get 3 unlimited data lines for $30 a month per line and a free 5G phone when you switch, so you can get the latest episodes all on one of America's fastest and largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. Disclaimer: free phone limited to new customers and 1 per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offers and coverage not available everywhere and for all phones and networks. See boostmobile.com for details. The question I got on Twitter was an interesting one, and it pertained to the presence of Duke Johnson and what his performance against the Jets said about the talent in the Miami Dolphins running back room. It comes from Jeremy. Jeremy said, does Duke doing what he did today speak volumes about the lack of talent in the running back room to you? It looked like it to me. And I think this goes both ways. I think it is worth mentioning and acknowledging that Duke Johnson had a phenomenal football game. And I think Miami would be foolish to not make sure he doesn't have a spot on the active roster. But the other side of the coin here is that Duke Johnson's performance kind of proves the point of the ideology that this regime has been trying to implement with the running back position in not investing in them high. Because Phillip Lindsay looked good off the waiver wire before he injured his ankle. And Duke Johnson had a lot of rushing success in this contest against the Jets, and he was available to be on the practice squad. And the ideology is you can find productive backs anywhere if you find the right guys to go in and complement what you have. So I think the bigger problem and the bigger picture issue for Miami is the guys that they do have on the active roster, Myles Gaskin, Savon Ahmed. Are those the right guys? Now, if you want to go out and get yourself a unicorn type player, and that's what a lot of these guys that are going in the top 50 picks are, then yes, that's going to make life a lot easier. You're not going to have to worry about that. But I think the credit for the rushing performance for the Dolphins in this contest deserves just as much as anybody else to go to the offensive line. I thought Michael Dieter played a really good game. I thought Robert Hunt played a good game. 42 rushes and almost it's really reminiscent of last year's contest when the Dolphins didn't have Devontae Parker against the Patriots, and I don't think they had Gesicki either, and they ran for like 200 yards against the Pats. This was a kind of a come-alive game in the run game, and it came via an unsung hero in Duke Johnson, 22 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Myles Gaskin, 10 for 54 with a long of 30. And then, of course, you had Tua laying the boomstick on the Jets, running dudes over in the open field. Yikes. You hate to see it. But, yeah, I could not have been happier with the effort in the running game. You knew you were going to have to get picked up without having Jalen Waddle, and everybody did that. I think we do have to acknowledge Tua Tagovailoa's performance in this contest. The first quarter was brutal, not good at all. The fourth quarter interception and the attempt to Hunter Long, brutal. Can't have it. Do I think Hunter Long maybe could have helped him out a little bit and come back towards the football? Sure, I do. But the 2 turnovers specifically were throws in which I thought they showcased some of the physical hardships that Tua is going to have to continue to learn how to navigate throughout the course of his career. The first interception, feet weren't set, ball misses high. You can't do that over the middle because what happens is what actually happened, throw an interception. The second one was a throw that was probably a little late, just a tick late, and Tua really doesn't have the luxury of being able to get away with doing that, being a tick late, because you don't have a cannon arm. You have a sufficient level arm strength, but you don't have a cannon. You don't have the ability to hold. Okay, I'm going to put it low and away, and I'm just going to hammer it in there, and it's going to get home. Not that that ball was low and away. It was high and arguably inside. So those 2 plays in particular, really frustrating. There were a couple of other turnover-worthy plays throughout the course of the game. I did not think Miami's receivers did a particularly good job in creating separation. Take that, if you would like, as a great testament to the value that Jalen Waddle brings to the receiving core in general, with the attention that he commands, the spacing issues that he creates, and how teams are electing to defend him or defend the Dolphins when he's not in the game. Thought Devontae Parker did a fair job of showing up, 4 for 68, long of 37. But here's the part of Tua's game against the Jets that I actually did like, and I thought was as good of a performance as we've seen it from him all season long, really. And it was the throws down the field that he attempted and completed, the one to Devontae Parker, the one to Isaiah Ford. Those kinds of throws, you got to take those. You got to hit those. You got to be willing to take them when they are there. And you saw that from Tua in this contest against the Jets. And I was really encouraged by both of those throws specifically, just as much as anything else. As discouraging as the 2 turnovers were, and a couple of the other tight window throws that were very high risk, the fact that he put the ball on the money down the field, 37 yards to Devontae Parker, or 30-something yards, and then a couple yards after contact. And he put the fade to Isaiah Ford on the money on a third down throw. That's good stuff. That's the kind of stuff that if you can continue to sprinkle in that accuracy outside the numbers, or on the numbers or outside the numbers, beyond 20 yards downfield, you're going to loosen up and create a lot more of respect for what you are capable of doing as a passer. And once you create that and command that level of respect, what then comes is so much of the spacing issues that are really going to allow your athletes to shine. But you have to force defenses to respect that dynamic of your game. And that's been something that has been a work in progress for Miami, because the offensive line has really not been conducive of allowing that to happen. I do think the offensive line played a reasonably good football game from a pass protection standpoint. I think the tight ends and the backs were much better. Tua was sacked once, didn't lose any yards on the play. And you take that contrast, you want to talk about hidden yardage versus 6 sacks for 44 yards lost for Zach Wilson. That can be a big swing in the game. So, in all, Tua, I don't think anybody's going to sit here and pound the table and say, this was one of his best contests of the season or the best contests of his career in Miami. It was frustrating at times. But I also do look at the fact that the response to the pick six was a 9-play, 75-yard touchdown drive to put Miami back up top. And it wasn't as though Miami simply didn't throw the ball. They took opportunities to throw the ball. They had to score on 3rd and 9 from the 11 with the slant from Tua to Devontae Parker. Of course, the big Kickstarter was the 30-yard run from Myles Gaskin. And it got boosted by Miami nickel and diming their way with some runs from Duke Johnson to complement that. But these possessions for Miami I don't think are something we should turn our nose up to. They played rusty. Their first 3 possessions, 3 for 7, 1 for 0, and 3 for 0. Their first 3 possessions, they had less than 3 minutes time of possession. 8 for 68, 4 yards, or 4 minutes, touchdown. 14 for 69, 7 minutes and 30 seconds time of possession. You got down to the 6, 4th and goal. Field goal. End of half. You took a knee. You come out of the half. You go 8 for 78 and a touchdown in 3.5 minutes. You force a punt. 12 for 58, 6 minutes and 35 seconds, touchdown. Then you have the fake field goal or fake punt with the missed time snap. I think is probably the best way to phrase it, where Fejedelem was not ready for the snap. You get the ball back, you throw the pick six, and then you go 9 for 75 in 4 minutes. That's a really nice script of maintaining possession of the football. Now, you would like to see some more home runs hit, but at the same time, these are 8 for 78 in 3.5 minutes, 9 for 75 in 4 minutes. This is not 10-minute possessions left and right. You got some chunk gains here. And that was one of the sticking points from last year. Incremental progresses and victories as you can find them. I'll take them, especially if they lead to 31 points and a win at home. I don't care who you're playing, especially when you play as bad as you played in the first 15 minutes of the football game. And that's what the Dolphins did. They played bad in the first 15 minutes of this football game. You know what's not bad? Our friends over at Built Bar. Built Bar is a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, or even better than a candy bar. They're high in protein, high in fiber, low in calories, low in sugar, low in fat, low in net carbs. You get the best of both worlds, delicious and healthy. With so many flavors, you'll have a hard time choosing raspberry, mint brownie, cherry, double chocolate, cookies and cream, yes, peanut butter brownie. Built Bar gives you the extra fuel you need to bust down mall doors and battle holiday shoppers, or to keep the energy levels high when you are standing in long shopping lines. Tell Santa to throw a few Built Bars in those stockings. With so many flavors, they'll make anyone's Christmas a happy one. You can go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next order. That is built.com, promo code LOCKED15 to save 15% off your next order of the world's most delicious protein bar. BetOnline has you covered for all of the remaining football games yet to be played, with more props, odds, and lines than ever before in the march to the playoffs. BetOnline is your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit using promo code LOCKEDON. Basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing available offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, and it is where the game starts. Defensively, the Dolphins in this contest. I want to give a shout out Jerome Baker, 2 sacks. Brandon Jones, welcome back. Got himself a sack. Andrew Van Ginkel played with a lot of range, really chasing down a mobile quarterback in Zach Wilson. Zach Sealer, sack. A couple of really, really nice plays, both in the run game, instinctively reacting and flashing to, what was it, a throwback? I guess you would technically, is the classic designation of the play, down in the red zone to help force the field goal in the Jets' second possession after the touchdown. Emmanuel Agba recovering a strip of Zach Wilson on a sack play. Swarming effort. And you did all that without potentially your second best player in Javon Holland. There's plenty to like. Outscoring the Jets 21-7 in the second half, when their 7 came from a mistake of your own and was a defensive score. I like that. Outscoring the Jets by a score of 31-14 from the second quarter on. I like that. I like the effort running the football. I like the effort of some of the performances up front. I like the mental dexterity that was required to hang tough after going down 17-7 with 2 long sustained drives against your highly vaunted defense. Would have been very easy to fold up shop. They didn't. I hope they remembered some of the lessons and hardships of last year along the way. And you put so much work in to put yourself in a position to potentially do something really special. And you let it slip through your fingers. You let your foot off the gas. I think about the video of Kobe Bryant, the NBA Finals, and they were up 2-0 in the finals. And he was asked at the press conference after the game, "Are you happy?" And he said, "What's there to be happy about? The job's not finished." And that's how I think these Dolphins should feel. We as fans on the outside looking in, you get a little different perspective. You're allowed to enjoy the victories a little more because you don't bring, your mentality doesn't bring the work throughout the week that's required to secure a win on game day. For the players, it's different. You've won 6 in a row. You have 3 left to play. And if you want to make the postseason, you better be ready to go out in primetime and kick somebody else's ass, like you did the last time you were on primetime when your defense got after the Baltimore Ravens big time. Speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, this is the fun part about where we are at in the season right now. Ravens were a team that they lost going for 2 against the Green Bay Packers in the final 4 minutes, or 40 seconds, of the game in Week 15. Why? I don't know. They had a lot of momentum on their side. They were the home team. The Packers didn't have a lot of time. I probably would have kicked the extra point and gone to overtime. They chose not to do that. But what you have now, the Titans lost to the Steelers this week. The Patriots lost to the Colts this week. The Ravens lost this week. The Broncos lost to the Bengals this week. If we get through the rest of this week and today being Monday, the Browns lose to the Raiders, you're going to have an opportunity to see this conference standing situation really shift, because next week, Miami's still 11th in the seeding right now. The Bills as the 7th seed as things currently stand are 8-6. Here's next week's schedule. The 8-6 Ravens play on the road against the 8-6 Cincinnati Bengals. So somebody's going 8-7. The 8-6 Buffalo Bills are playing at the 9-5 New England Patriots. Somebody in the AFC East above the Dolphins is losing a game. The 7-6-1 Pittsburgh Steelers are playing at the Kansas City Chiefs. You would assume Pittsburgh is falling back to 500 next week. The 7-7 Broncos are visiting the either 6-7 either 7-7 or 6-8 Las Vegas Raiders next week. Somebody's going below 500 at best or at worst. The Titans, short week, Thursday Night Football. They're hosting the 8-6 San Francisco 49ers. No layup, unfortunately, for Dolphins fans who are hoping to watch San Francisco crumble. The Cleveland Browns, who are going to at worst be 7-7 and tied with the Dolphins on Saturday, when they play on Monday, on Saturday, are going to Green Bay to play the Packers. The Colts on Saturday are going to Arizona to play the 10-4 Cardinals, who just got their asses kicked by the Detroit Lions. You don't think they're going to be a little ticked off and ready to play some football? That's all the teams in front of you. That's all the teams in front of you. They're all playing somebody significant. So if you can do your business, let's just say that, for argument's sake, the Raiders beat the Browns because the Browns are all tied up in COVID right now, right? Let's say that happens. Then next week, let's say the Dolphins win, take care of their own business just next week. And let's say the Bengals beat the Ravens. Let's say the Chiefs beat the Steelers. Do we want to say the Raiders beat the Broncos? We can do that if you'd like. No, you know what? Let's say the Broncos win. Let's just say the Broncos win. A very realistic outcome. Let's say the Bills beat the Patriots. Let's say the Cardinals beat the Colts. Let's say the Packers beat the Browns. Let's say the 49ers happen to upset the Tennessee Titans. Those things happen. Miami is 8th, a.k.a. the first team out of the playoffs at 8-7. And they are tied with the Colts. I would imagine the Chargers are going to beat the Texans. I don't really care who wins between the Jaguars and the Jets. But that would leave you with 2 to go, and you're 8-7. You're the 8th seed. You're literally tied for the last spot with the Colts. Now, the Colts' schedule is softer than yours, but it should not be overlooked that the Dolphins are playing the 9-6, what in this hypothetical would be the 9-6 Tennessee Titans the following week. So what's to say if the Colts don't go out and beat the Raiders and the Dolphins don't beat the Titans, that the Dolphins don't pass the Titans in the standings? It's going to be really, really interesting down the stretch. A lot of fun scenarios to see play out. I'm just kind of exploring it all here laid out in front of me as we wrap up today's show. I want to thank you guys for listening to another episode of Locked On Dolphins. It is Victory Monday here on the podcast, so rejoice, enjoy it. We got it. We We have dreamed about playing significant December football, and we're here. We are here. The Dolphins are going to be playing the day after Christmas or 2 days after Christmas, whatever it is. And they're going to be playing a very, very, very important football game in the AFC playoff picture when they were 1-7. Enjoy it. I know I'm going to. And I know everybody else on the USS Dolphins make the playoffs is going to enjoy it too. If you haven't gotten on, kindly consider. It's fun this time of year. And we don't know how long the ride is going to go for, but I sure as hell am going to enjoy it while we can. Because with the way that this season was at the midway point, it looked like we were in for a miserable rest of the year and a miserable offseason in trying to figure out where the hell this team was going to go. Not a problem we have to worry about right now. Let's hope it stays that way. Kyle Krabs, thanks as always for listening to Locked On Dolphins. Make it a good one. Fins up. Keep it locked in right here on Locked On Dolphins. We'll talk with you guys